Welcome to this tutorial about how to implement or render an architectural model into an existing image. And this needs calibration in perspective and in color. So this implies a lot of different tools in Blender. It's not trivial how to do that, and it needs a lot of mastership. I try to give you a short and brief walkthrough of what needs to be done. So now the first thing is you have to create the camera which took your picture. So that's a camera, and then you have to apply a picture to this camera. It's a very strange setup. So here, this is a background image. Make that on and say we want to have this is a picture here in our directory. This picture should be not with the elevation or the section or the floor plan. You can have pictures there to reconstruct a three-dimensional picture, a model from two-dimensional drawings. You can use it for that, or you can do it with free position, perspective pictures or drawings to reconstruct a 3D model. So this is what we want to do. We have a camera applied to this picture. Now if we choose a view to this camera, we get our picture, and we need it in full color to work with it, because we don't want to model in it, we just want to get our rendering. So that's the setup and the first step. What we have is a camera somewhere in space having a picture after taking it. Now we have to take the picture, which means we have to reconstruct focal length and position in space of this picture. So we have to put the camera at a position which is reasonable to be able to construct in this global coordinate system. Because looking here, I want to draw in here and model in the perspective. So to do that, we have an add-on. It's called BLAM. Go here, add-ons, BLAM, camera calibration toolkit. It's free, available on the internet. You easily can find that. It's simple to install. It's in the usual way, and I did it in one of the very first tutorials. I showed how to do it. So save it if you want to reuse it frequently. So that's the toolkit. This toolkit shows up not in 3D view, and I don't know why, but in the movie clip editor. And you have to open it again. I don't know why. So this is our picture in the movie clip editor, ready for our camera calibration, which can be found here at this point. So we're choosing two vanishing points. We have to define the principal axis, two axes to define a vanishing point somewhere at the horizon, and then the camera is calibrated with that. So the idea is that you do it with a grease pencil toolkit. This is how to draw. We take a line with a precise, with a small thickness, so be precise. We give him the color, as is here. Give the color. Give it red. And we need these layers here. So this is the layer for x-axis. We need another layer for the y-axis. This is what this toolkit needs. So we need at least two lines in x. So let's do that. So here, now we create a line in red on layer 1 in X. So we take this point here and this, and that's our first line. It has to be very precise. You don't need a lot of lines, it doesn't help, but it needs precision. So here, and we go here, that's the second. Now we go to the second layer, and we look at these lines. We want to have another color, plus green. Good. Now the line here, color, and here. So that's enough for this camera calibration. X, you can change it depending on where you find its exact edges and then calibrate it. And here we have a focal length of 28. And you can find it here with the camera, and you have 28 millimeters here. And you got, now we go to the 3D editor, you got a certain rotation in space for this camera, and you see now it's positioned with X and Y properly towards X and Y. So, and we got a height for that. So if we want to have the origin within the camera, we can do, just to show you the mechanics of it. So this view we get the picture, this view we got the overview. If we now move it, you see that the coordinate system is moving. Now we can zoom in here, zoom in here. Like so, that's our point, which means now this is the corner of our house. So if we now go for a mesh, a plane, you see we have it in place. So this is working in the perspective. Now we are we should be in the line, in the perspective line of our corner. Yes, it's good. Now check the height. So yeah, add a cube. Put it up one, go into it. No, select it, go into it, and move it up. And you see, in principle, it's working, but it needs fine calibration by the camera. So therefore, we need the camera here. Have a closer look at that. Leave it. Go for the camera. And I think the best is if we go for normal vectors and we go for rotation. So what we need is this rotation around the x-axis. So we can do it like, so this is a rotation here. No, that's the wrong direction, that's not this one. This is our rotation. Good. Now we have proper adjustment. Good. Good. This one. And I think we can leave now you got this idea of this interplay, which means we can leave this. Go here, select this object and put it somewhere here. Go into it and move it down to a reasonable size. There's a block, I don't know, it's still a little crazy in perspective. It's not working properly. Something's wrong. So, but okay, calibrate it with the camera again. Object mode, go for the camera and yeah. No, this is, I think it's proper. It's always good. So if we go for rendering, the next step, it's odd. So the first thing what we have to do is we need to have the rendering with transparent film of rendering should be transparent background. So by that the background image can be shown. So if we are in rendering now, we see there is no light. So I would suggest first go for the world and have certain strengths. Give it the color of the sky, and then you get a principal illumination. So the next is you want to have the shadow like this here to the ground. Therefore we need this shadow catcher, which is a plane. We have to put it underneath. We have to put the block here a little little up. When we go for 7, this is our solid. This is our thing here. Scale it by 3. Move it underneath. So here we are with that. If we now go for the rendering, we see it's like this. The shadow catcher, this is a plane here, you should have a material, simple material, and go for rendering. It's like this, it's good. We have the shadows, we have the floor. So now the floor should be invisible, therefore we need this is with the plane, material, cycles, there should be a shadow catcher. So the shadow catcher should have no shadows, no glossy and diffusion, so that the shadow catcher is not reflecting, it has no reflections towards our object. So it's towards the ground, but it's not huge, big enough. So scale it by I make it simply very big. By that now we have this shadow here. So to make it, let's make it a little less. So that's proper. Now give it a light, a directional light from somehow this direction, which means we get a lamp, a sun, or simply get a spot. Where's the spot? It's here. The spot gets a core, and then we rotate the whole thing. So go for rendering. It's not enough. Okay. So, like this. Now if we go for 0, why is it like that? You go here, no shadows, and rendering. Okay, now we got more profile for that, that's good. We can put it to 1000. So, that's good. We have that. Now we have a calibrated object in space, and we got some light to it. In the direction, the rest is illuminated as well. So, but it's two directional to this point here. So global, need to put it a little more in front. And now we have to rotate it. Good. Now, and the rendering. Good, that's better. This is properly adjusted. Now give this pot these kind of colors, yellowish, fuzzy colors, so that's imitating this surface. So this is done with the spot here. Go for the node editor, and this is the illumination, the strength of the emission, add the texture, image texture, color here. Now we have no color defined. Open that. This is our picture. Take this picture. The spot here should have strength 0, so it's super focused. And now we need to define the vector here. which means we have an input, it's a texture coordinate. We take the normal of the texture and we need a vector map. It's the normal here, get the vector here, and now you see the picture projected. We can make it stronger. So this will be the color scheme of what we see. Now let's, for example, go here. So now you see there's a projection of that. If we put that a little fuzzy, then we are there. That's good. Fine. That's our rendering. So we can, just for exercise, go for the cube and give it a material. Say this is principled BSDF. So now this is proper. Now give that a concrete. Now you see everything. The shadow, reflection, so crisp. Everything is properly adjusted. In principle we are ready, but let's make a concrete. So that's it. And make another one, plain white. So now go into it. It's a cube. Now we go for this is disturbing. So here, now the cube, all this we apply with plain white, and now with selection of this and this plane, we say we want to have this as a concrete. So and this should be with texture. So we have the texture, it's an image texture. Open that. This is our concrete wall from our library. Get this high resolution concrete wall. Look it up. That's our concrete wall. And now we can UV map these two and see that as a material. Why? Good. But I think we scale it by 0.5 and we move it just to this area here. Good. That's our concrete wall. And give it a... Why is it not... It's not... It's... that's a problem. Look at this. Now we are with our concrete block. This is what was missing. Now put the normals as well. So it's the texture, image texture here. Open that. Get the normal map. And we need to transfer to translate colors to normals. So we need vector normal map here. Normal, and this is important, to not normal. So if we now put it to 3, we get more structure in here. So we get it here, look at this, 5, much more structure, 1. Maybe it's good like that. Good. Now if we go to rendering, it should be as we like. With proper block integrated into our scenery of this picture in perspective and light. If you want to render it, is the final step. I'll show you what is needed for that. We have to go to the node editor and we go for this image. We say this is the composite of your rendering. We say use nodes. And this is always only rendering the foreground with the transparent. So therefore the rendering will just be these rendered objects, and we have to compose it with our image. So we have to take an input, it's our image, take that from our database, that's our image. And now here with the dimensions, we are with 50%, that's a lot. And so to take it to 12% here, so it's fast rendering. And we have to adapt this here as well as distortion, scale, put that and put that to 12%. 12%, so now this image, 12%. Now we have to mix these both. So we have to go for the alpha over. And I never know whether it's like this or the other way around. So we have an alpha over, but I think this one should be, we will check that. So now with the rendering, proper format, composition of the rendered layer, and our picture should be the composition, which is then the UV image editor. If we push rendering now, it's doing the actual rendering, our object, and composites it. That's it. So let's have a better resolution. Make it to 50%. Go here for 50% as well. And render it. And here we are. This is a more high-res picture where perspective and colors are somehow calibrated. Of course you can improve all this stuff, but I think you got the idea of how to use these tools, and the rest is training and mastership. Thanks for watching. See you in the next tutorial.